the rain won't let up. No matter how much time passes, it just won't stop. Ever since that day, the sound of raindrops has been burned into my mind. Such an awful, heart-rending sound, driving me out. Okay, I did not read that fast enough. Nothing will make the sound of the rain stop. Osawa stared at the postcard that was nestled into the final page of the photo album. He'd purchased it 2 years earlier while on a trip with Maria to the Middle East. Originally used to indicate Iran, Afghanistan, and the regions surrounding them, in modern times the term refers to a part of southwestern Asia, excluding India and Afghanistan, and the section of northeastern Africa along the Mediterranean coast. However, in Japan, as well as the US, the term Middle East is often understood to refer specifically to those parts of the region with strong Islamic influence. He mentioned that he was being sent there on business, and Maria had just blurted out, "I want to go with you." She'd recently developed an interest in the Middle East conflict, and apparently she had been yearning to see the area firsthand. Ongoing friction in the Palestine region between the Jewish people who founded the nation of Israel and the Arabs who had been living there previously. The religious and historical context of this cultural clash is well beyond the scope of what can be elucidated here. That's a good cop-out. His daughter's newfound curiosity had taken him aback. She had always tended to be quiet and self-contained. The clumsy conversations aboard the airplane, the meals eaten together in awkward silence, it all felt like such a distant memory to Osawa now. "Ma'am, I'm afraid I can't let you do that," he heard Kajiwara's voice outside the door. "Why ever not? I'm just going out for a bit." The detective was arguing with I. Great. "And just who was it who told me I should try to go about my life as normal? Osawa's wife sneered. "Ma'am, please, how would you feel about being told just to sit around and wait?" Ai's angry shriek jerked Osawa to his feet. He hurried down from his study to try to calm her down. "Ma'am, please wait!" By the time Osawa had made his way downstairs, his wife had already stormed outside despite Kajiwara's attempt to stop her. Osawa doubted anything he could have said would have stopped Ai from leaving. Trying to physically keep her from going out would only have made for an even worse uproar. He was glad that at least it hadn't come to that. He was turning his head back to the study when Kajiwara caught his eye. Resigned, he headed back down the stairs and bowed to the detective. "Any idea where she's going?" Kajiwara asked. "I mean, at a time like this?" Osawa shook his head. "I wouldn't know." I didn't think so. You know, your wife really is something else." Osawa arches an eyebrow. "That's one way to describe her. A rather rude way, as a matter of fact." "Oh, no offense intended. It's just that ever since this case started, you've both been holed up in your own respective rooms." The more Kajiwara spoke, the more irritated Osawa became. "What's your point?" he demanded. "I just mean, you haven't been having any, marital discourse." According to one survey, in roughly 6% of households, discourse between spouses is largely non-existent. Various reasons for this were offered by the couples in question. Many claimed that they were, quote, too tired to have the energy to talk, or stated, quote, "we wind up fighting when we talk," or, quote, "we have nothing to talk about." "Mind your own business," Osawa snapped. Kajiwara dipped his head deferentially. The two of us not talking isn't a new thing anyhow," Osawa added. "I have a policy of not having pointless conversations. It's quite common for Kenji Osawa to make it thoroughly through an entire day without having a single conversation. On many days, he opens his mouth only to eat or brush his teeth. His current record is a streak of 14 consecutive days during which he didn't talk to anyone." Jeez. Jeez. Huh. Didn't look as though Kajiwara quite understood. Microorganisms such as viruses don't have conversations. And yet they still continually propagate in order to survive. Thinking about viruses, Osawa's back in familiar territory. He felt a surge of confidence. Once you have a clear purpose, conversation is unnecessary. And do you have a clear purpose for the relationship with your wife, Mr. Osawa? Of course I do. To be a family. Arms crossed, Kajiwara struck a thoughtful pose. At least, I've learned one useful thing today, Mr. Osawa, namely that you don't like to have pointless conversations. It's a good thing to know. Kajiwara uncrossed his arms for a moment, then crossed them right back again, furrowing his brow. But see, that's funny. You seem to have a tendency to have pointless conversations with me, and because you keep coming to talk to me. Osawa saw red. You don't leave me much of a choice. Tanaka poked his head out of the living room. Is something the matter? He asked. No. Osawa struggled to regain his calm. Perfect timing, actually. There's something I need to talk to you about. He turned back to Kajiwara. My apologies, Detective. Would you mind giving us some privacy? Kajiwara didn't move. Detective? Osawa gave the policeman a hard look and saw him crack a smile. Yes, what is it? Kajiwara said at last. Don't you play dumb with me. Give us some privacy. Is this a discussion I shouldn't overhear? Actually, yes, it's work-related. There are business matters I prefer to keep confidential. I see. I see. Reluctantly getting to his feet, Kajiwara slipped away into the living room. Tanaka, Osawa began. About those emails. He stopped abruptly. Buddy! Kajiwara appeared in the living room door, staring right at them. What are you doing? Osawa. Yeah, there we go. Osawa demanded. It was going to happen eventually. Oh, should I not be watching? Osawa felt like he was about to burst a blood vessel. I mean, you never told me that I couldn't watch. Because it should be obvious. The detective made a scolded puppy face and closed the living room door. Osawa let out a heavy sigh. He'd never been an extrovert, but he didn't recall human interaction being quite this draining. Anyway, sir, Tanaka prompted, you were saying? Yes, about those emails. Something doesn't make sense. I don't understand how Mr. Makio was able to get the antiviral agent to anyone on the outside. Sharing an Okoshi Pharmaceuticals drug with external sources while still under development required an approval of an executive committee member that included Osawa himself. There should have been no way the antiviral could be sent out without his knowledge. Tanaka hesitated a few moments before responding. Are you aware of the strife between the company president and the chairman? Osawa shook his head. He was a researcher through and through. Factional rivalries held no interest for him whatsoever. Makino effectively leads the chairman's team, and the antiviral agent is their pet project. Despite being the executive officer in charge of the project, however, Makino still needs the president's approval to... You know what? Forget about that right now. What do we do about security? In theory, it was physically impossible to get the antiviral out of the lab without detection. Entry to the biohazard laboratory where it was kept required fingerprint authentication from both Osawa and Tanaka. Technology that allows an individual's identity to be verified by scanning the fingerprints. It is one element of biometrics, the measurement of physical characteristics to identify individuals. There are even devices that can identify people by checking the veins in the palm of their hands or the irises of their eyes. That's interesting. Bye-bye. Identified. Without the two of them there, nobody could even get into the storage facility. Because a dangerous virus is also stored there, the lab where the antiviral is kept is protected by an ID checkpoint as well as a sophisticated 3-tiered lock system. that requires fingerprint authentication. Multiple security guards also posted outside the laboratory entrance 24 hours a day are also posted outside the laboratory entrance 24 hours a day, making it all but impossible for an unauthorized person to get into the secured storage area. That's really creepy. My brother and I have been getting targeted WhatsApp messages. Sorry. I've been getting these WhatsApp messages that are like saying, "Hi David," which is I guess the closest that the robots can get to my name of Dovey. You know, I heard you moved recently. How was the move? And my brother had a friend over today, and he got a WhatsApp message that says, "Hi, how is blank? We haven't been in touch for a long time." You know, the name of the friend. What the heck? That's really creepy. And these are all like business accounts. Anyway, I'm sorry. So I don't know if they're listening in on texts or something. They're either the possibilities, none of which I want to think about, is our phones are bugged by some sort of malware, both of our phones, or our WhatsApps are both bugged by some sort of malware. But I don't talk about things on WhatsApp, so they shouldn't have that information on mine. Anyway, I'm sorry. Tanaka followed his drift. Ah, yes, I see what you mean. He inclined his head in thought as Osawa continued. Could someone have overwritten the fingerprint authentication program? Let's check the entry logs, and we'll just have to ask Makino. I guess let's check the entry logs. Anyone who wanted to get inside had to present their ID card to a security guard on duty. It should be possible to check the computer logs to see if there had been any suspicious activity in the system. Tanaka shook his head. I already checked the logs, sir. There was no evidence of anything suspicious. You're welcome to check for yourself, though, if you're that worried. No, I believe you. Yet the fact was that the antiviral had been used for clinical testing. Either Makino had taken it from the laboratory personally, or someone working on his orders had done so. But how? Was there really some way they could have bypassed lab security without anyone else knowing? Osawa couldn't think of how it would be. How it would be possible. The living room door opened with a soft creak. It was Kajiwara, and he looked stiff and pale. Something terrible has happened, he said. Visions of tragedy flooded Osawa's mind. Maria, is she... Kajiwara shook his head. No, it's not that. What is it then? Osawa asked, his voice trembling. Sir, I need you to stay calm. Osawa swallowed the lump in his throat. It's something stupid. You see... The toilet's clogged. Yep, there we go. This weirdo. This absolute weirdo. Plunger in hand, Osawa stabbed vigorously at the recalcitrant toilet bowl, struggling to loosen the unseen blockage. Plunger, a cleaning/utility implement consisting of a soft hemispherical rubber suction cup attached to the end of a dowel. By pressing the cup over the opening of a drain that has been clogged, one can apply suction pressure to jostle the blockage free. Makes a variety of sounds when used, such as glub, glork, schluck, schlorp, schloop, and pop. Kajiwara was at his side, wiping up the floor with a rag. How did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding? I was hoping... how did this even happen? The detective groaned. Are you kidding? I was hoping you could tell me that. The plunger sucked and slurped at the porcelain basin. This is a first for Osawa. He never tried to unclog a toilet before in his life. Think of it as a blessing in disguise, Mr. Osawa. What the hell are you talking about? What about this constitutes a blessing? I just meant that at least this happened before you needed to, do your business. Without the slightest hint of guile on his face, Kajiwara picked up his bucket and headed for the sink back in the washing area. Grumbling to himself, Osawa pumped the plunger over and over again. This was almost funny. Almost ridiculous, in fact. His daughter had been kidnapped, and he was stuck unclogging a toilet. He was quite possibly caught up in a major corporate conspiracy, and here he was unclogging a toilet. Tanaka poked his head into the bathroom. Did you fix it yet? If you need to urinate, then use the bathroom on the second floor. That's alright, here's fine. Tanaka stepped in beside him and abruptly shut the bathroom door. Hey, buddy? Now the two men are crammed together in the narrow lavatory. Hey, Osawa, what the hell are you doing? Tanaka made eye contact with Osawa via the mirror. He spoke in a hushed voice. I've been waiting for a moment I could get you alone. What? Tanaka sidled around to face him, giving him an intense stare. Shh. Sir, could you please be quiet for a moment? Tanaka had tears in the corner of his eyes. This will only take a moment. Osawa could feel the warm breath of his deputy whispering against his cheek. Tanaka reached for something inside his coat. Hey, come on, knock it off. Okay, so, look, if you want to talk, you can do it over there. Shove it out of the bathroom, alright, do as you wish. You know, I want to see where this is going. Alright, do as you wish. Osawa closed his eyes. He's not gonna shank me. Are you sure you're ready for this? I'm not sure. This is all happening pretty fast. To be honest, I'm rather nervous. I understand, sir. I mean, now that I think of it, we do spend day in and day out in that lab together. I suppose this was bound to happen sooner or later. Sir, could you please open your eyes? I'd like you to look at this. You'll have to forgive me. This is all a bit sudden. Please, sir, take a look. No, I can't. It's just the two of us. It's probably gonna shock you, I know, but please just look. Is it really that shocking? Oh yes, very. Now please open your eyes. Okay. No, I can't. Sir, trust me. This isn't easy for me either. All right. Bracing himself, Osawa opened his eyes. Tanaka thrust out his cell phone. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa blinked, bewildered, then refocused on the phone. He could never have anticipated what he saw on the LCD screen. He thought he was proposing to him or something, propositioning him. Oh, we're here again. I assume that's the communique with Hitomi. Okay, where the heck are we stuck then? Okay, so we need to fix up the bad end over here with Kano. And Minorikawa we're no longer stuck at. Oh, because we changed that thing over there. I think. One sec. Let's see if Chiri is still in the restaurant here. Chiri did disappear from what we were doing. Now we're gonna continue focusing because the other one was a bad option. But this is a new path. Time passed. Eventually, the pace of his writing slowed down a bit, and Minorikawa glanced at his watch. It was later than he'd thought. Pretty soon he's going to have to head over to get an interview from the Diet Drink people. Okay, so Chiri is not here now. He reached into his bag for the project proposal to double-check the demo location. Huh? The proposal, it's gone. Crap, where the heck did it go? He checked all around the table, but he didn't see it anywhere. Maybe he left it at the other cafe, the non-smoking place? Well, he didn't have time to go back for it now. His phone rang. What now? Minorikawa snapped as he answered it. A tiny squeak came through the receiver. It was followed by the sound of sniffling sobs. I'm sorry, I just... Chiaki? Was she done with her interviews, maybe? Sound only. It's no use. People won't stop to talk no matter how hard I try. Her voice broke up into further sobs. Look, I've got my own problems to deal with. You're just gonna have to find some way to manage. But I can't. Sorry, I'm hanging up now. And so he did. That's rude. He had to hurry. He had to get to the demo venue. But he'd lost the map and forgotten the location. Think, man, he told himself. Where would they hold an event like this? Probably someplace big, right? There ought to be a guide or someone out there, or out front too. With those assumptions in mind, Minorikawa broke into a run, searching ahead as he went. I wonder if I changed it so now that I get the bad ending. He stopped when he caught sight of a particular multi-tenant office building. The whole stream of women were filing inside. All of them looked a little heavy too. Pay dirt! This had to be a healthy food company sale demo. He hurried into the building. The women were queued up down the hallway. This is definitely the place then. More confident by the moment, Minorikawa made his way up the stairs. Finally, he reached the front of the line. There was a notice post outside the doorway ahead. Minorikawa read out loud. Audition for the starring role in Sun TV's Sumo Queen 2? A suspense drama about a string of murders that crop up while a group of female sumo wrestlers tour the country. The Maegashira Komusubi Sekiwake and Ozeki, the 5th through 2nd place wrestlers from both East and West, are all killed in sequence, leaving only the top 2 ranked Yokozuna. With the real killer still unknown, things come to a heated climax in the ring during the final match when the loser tearfully confesses to her crimes. It concludes with the victorious wrestler, who'd also been playing the part of detective, sorrowfully looking the culprit in the eyes and stating, "It's off to the big house with you." Boo! It was the sequel to the sequel series to the recent TV drama featuring full-figured actresses. That's it! Minorikawa exclaimed, a new project proposal springing fully formed into his mind. He felt as if he'd struck by a bolt of divine inspiration. Big bodies, bigger names! A new arena opens for the aspiring plus-size actresses. Never mind the diet drink demo, this was going to be Minorikawa's big story. Minorikawa managed to meet the deadline. The show, however, wound up being a massive flop. Sales of that issue of 4-Star General Gossip were likewise lackluster, with an unprecedented number of copies going unsold. Oh no! Not again! Mr. Toyama's debts continued to spiral out of control, and before long, Heaven Publishing was no more. Okay, so we have to have Chiri over there to give him the new map. Minorikawa wound up going to the wrong venue. His main problem is that he didn't have a good detailed directions. Tom could do something at 12:15 then. Okay. So I need to redo the thing with Chiri. Nope, wrong way. Shall we search? Looks like I got back just in time for the balancing act. Yeah. Let's split up. So I have to go back to splitting up again. Should split up, searching for a truck full of junk. So yeah, we can't stop this guy from. Actually, one second. So this guy's important. They were at Heaven Publishing before this. So Minorikawa Okay, you no longer have that, but where am I supposed to stop them? So which one is this? This is a bloodied young man. I don't think that makes a difference. Questioning suspicious women, that didn't make a difference. I don't think that made a difference either. No, that's already 11:45. Yeah, those two are stuck. Oh, where the heck am I supposed to go? I guess we'll try to not care about the bloodied young man. See if that leads anywhere. They're in the middle of the job. They should call juvenile affairs. They should probably call juvenile affairs. Part of the communal safety section, which handles crimes pertaining to public decency, finances, pollution, and so on. Juvenile affairs deals with misconduct and criminal activity involving minors. Since many SOS members are underage, the Shibuya Precinct's Juvenile Affairs Division has been ramping up its efforts to deal with the gang, although one detective in particular has been using us as an excuse to go on patrol at arcades, ignoring his duties in order to fuel his video game addiction. Contact has a cell phone so you could call the precinct, but Sasayama stopped him, then showed the two youngsters his badge. Oh crap, you a cop? This looks like it's the same... Yeah, exact same thing. Okay, this isn't gonna help us at all. Show hints. Okay, so Kano's taken off the case. If the father-daughter hadn't shown up, this wouldn't have happened. So that's what we have to stop. A certain someone needs to give those two some better advice. A certain other someone needs to meet up with them outside his or her house. When the heck else did we bump into them? It wasn't... It said that they were by Heaven Publishing, so that has to be on Minorikawa. Oh. Okay. What's over here? No. Don't think that's it. If the taxi wait, that didn't matter. I don't think that matters for us at all. I don't think this matters for us at all either. Makino. Wait, no. What if I change my thing here? Does it matter? Yeah, lift up my plunger like a weapon, I guess. Or I'm gonna shove you out of the bathroom. If you want to talk, you can do it out there. Osawa shoved Tanaka out of the bathroom. Hey, hold on, wait. Tanaka reached out, put a cell phone. It's the same exact thing. Okay, we just had the funny version of that. Okay, so that doesn't help us in the slightest. So this doesn't, yeah, none of this helps us with Tama. doesn't help us either. Yeah, that was a different thing. Yeah, it couldn't be any of this stuff with Hachi here. No, it's one who rescued her. This was screwing around. Okay, so let's try something different here. Maybe? Let's try avoiding them and see what happens. So that we don't run into them, so that we don't beat the guy up. Yeah. There's too much at stake. We're gonna have to suck it up and ignore them. What was? Yeah, okay. He's just gonna have to suck it up and ignore them for the time being. Gritting his teeth, he tried to slip past them. The largest three grabbed him by the collar. You ran out, man. Suzuma's the one who runs this town now. You got no right to keep acting like you're the boss of us. He shoved Achi up against the wall. Says who? Achi asked Suzumo. Say what now? Did Suzume say I got no right to act like the boss? Please, Suzume ain't got no time to worry about your sorry ass. Is that so? Ooh. Clean on the jaw. Okay, so this looks like it's the exact same. Everyone has to play nice and have fun. Okay, so this is the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. What about the jump over here? Where does that go? Actually, yeah, maybe I can just go jump from here. Okay, I can. There we go, there we go. I just had to go to the right jump point. Here, take a look at this. Huh? Osawa could never anticipate what he saw on the LCD screen. It was an email from Hitomi. Stifling an exclamation, he scanned the contents of the message. There's a man following me. He has a gun and I think he's trying to kill me. I'm safe for the moment, so try not to worry. The kidnapper warned me, told me not to contact my family or the police. Please keep this email a secret. But didn't Hitomi give the kidnapper the ransom? Kidnapper the ransom, Osawa said? What could anyone want with her now? Tanaka shook his head uncertain. He would know any better than I would, I suppose. Do the police know about this? And if so, why haven't they said anything? He felt himself start to tremble as he searched for answers in Tanaka's silent gaze. Do you think this could be related to that other thing? I doubt it. If it were, why would they got after Hitomi? That's not a word. I suppose you're right, but Osawa was shaking outright now. Tanaka laid a hand on his shoulder. First, just calm down and let's think about what we know about the kidnapper. His composure helped Osawa keep himself under control. They've taken Maria, the vice director continued quietly, along with a ransom of 50 million yen, and now they're after Hitomi. His gaze sharpened. Sir, do you think this could be someone who holds a personal grudge against you? A grudge? Osawa considered he couldn't think of anyone who would want to have a reason to attack him. He'd been too caught up in virus research since his time in school to have formed any hostile rivalries. He didn't have any enemies that he knew of. Maybe someone's jealous that he became head of a laboratory? He suggested doubtfully. He had held his position for years at this point. Why would that spur someone into kidnapping his daughter now? Has anything happened recently? Tanaka asked. Anything strange since you got back from overseas? Since I got back? Osawa's heart skipped a beat, then started pumping faster. The first thing that came to mind was the solicitation he'd gotten from the American laboratory. If he accepted the offer, it would put Okoshi Pharmaceutical in quite the bind. Possibly enough to warrant someone holding a grudge over it. But the only other person who knew about the potential transfer right now was his wife, Ai. No, Osawa said nothing. Not that I can think of. He couldn't bring himself to discuss the transfer with Tanaka. He felt a surge of guilt for contemplating leaving his trusted assistant behind. If he did make the move to America, he planned to recommend that Tanaka replace him as department director. Still, he didn't expect that to make up for his abandonment. Alright, I'll see what information I can find then, Tanaka said. The kidnapper had forbidden any contact with either family or the police, but Tanaka was outside that circle and he knew how to handle himself with discretion. I'm sorry to have to put this on you, Osawa said, and thank you. For now, let's see if we can get Hitomi to exchange some more emails. An uncomfortable thought suddenly occurred to Osawa. He blurted it out without thinking. Why do you have my daughter's contact information on your phone? Tanaka gave him a worried look. Sir, I promise I can explain once all this is over. And that he stepped out of the bathroom. Well, back to plunging. Something in the tone of his final words left Osawa to wonder. Could it be that Tanaka and Hitomi were dating? He hoped dearly for that not to be the case. Their age difference alone made the idea a disturbing one, let alone so many other considerations. Mamoru Tanaka is 40 years old. Hitomi is 19. That makes him just over twice his age. This does not necessarily mean, however, that they could not date or fall for each other. Many couples with such age differences between them wind up in a happy, committed relationship. Trying to put aside his paranoia, Osawa assumed his struggle with a clog in the toilet. Most toilet clogs are caused by a buildup of flushable paper products or by solid objects inadvertently dropping into the toilet bowl. But shockingly enough, on very rare occasions, they can be caused by someone taking a dump that happens to be that big that it gets stuck in the pipe. Apologies to anybody who might be eating right now. Oh, goodness. Why are you so weird? Kajiwara reappeared, still toting the bucket. You seem to be having a lot of trouble there, sir. He made it sound like the whole mess was Osawa's fault. Of course I am. I've never had to do this before. Really? I'd think the research you do would be a lot more difficult than this. Fixing toilets gives me far more trouble, I'd say. And so it would seem. Kajiwara stood watching as if Osawa's efforts made an interesting show. I don't know the first thing about viruses, sir, but I don't find unclogging toilets to be that difficult. Oh yeah? Osawa snapped. Then how about you fix the damn thing? Kajiwara really was a world-class pro at pissing people off. Are you sure you don't mind? The detective asked. Be my goddamn guest! Osawa shoved the plunger into Kajiwara's hand. Be my goddamn guest! Leaving the detective to handle the toilet, Osawa marched back to his study. He turned on the CD player and lay back on the sofa, squeezing his eyes shut. He was seriously on edge. Kajiwara had totally broken his stride. What now? The door to the study slid slowly open. Dude! It's Detective Kajiwara, sir. Please don't come in here without asking. My apologies, Mr. Osawa. I just wanted to inform you that the toilet has been fixed. Right, fine. Sorry. Talking to myself. Osawa hardly cared. He just wanted the guy to give him a little space, a little peace. Oh my, is that really all you have to say, sir? Nary a compliment or encouraging word. Maybe a good job, Kajiwara, or you're getting a promotion, detective? Osawa blew out his breath in exasperation. How? How are you a detective? I'm not sure I get your meaning, sir. You are completely clueless. I'd like to ask your superiors to replace you with a detective who knows how to take his job seriously. Mr. Osawa, with all due respect, it's unusual for a precinct detective like me to be stationed here at a victim's home. What's your point? Not to brag, sir, but I happen to be an exceptional detective. Kajiwara beamed with pride. In fact, I made an excellent showing in the Superstar Detective contest we had on the police station's social media, an online platform whose primary feature is allowing people to connect with one another. Police-exclusive social media network that Kajiwara belongs to, Poxy, is very strictly regulated, with any abusive language, slander, sexual content, or lame jokes deleted almost immediately. For a moment, Osawa thought the bolt of incredulous anger that shot through him was the onset of a stroke. How could a single person be so utterly infuriating? And you can't tell anyone about this, Kajiwara went on obliviously. But this summer, a new detective manga is starting up, based on me. Planned for serialization in the MPD's monthly PR magazine, the chapter titles have already been decided. Chapter 1, The Fabled Detective Kaji. Chapter 2, Kaji Howls at the Sun. Chapter 3, Kaji Rides the Rails. Chapter 4, Kaji at Daybreak. Chapter 5, Detective Kajak. So Kojak. Chapter 6, Kaji, Queen of the Street. Chapter 7, Look Out Kaji. Chapter 8, Kaji on the Edge. Chapter 9, Dance Kaji Dance. Chapter 10, Space Detective Kaji, and so forth and so on. Oh my god. Osawa spat out a peal of feigned laughter. A manga? I can tell you all about the plot, sir. Would you like to hear about it? I would not. It's about a telecommuting detective who solves major crimes using just his wits and his computer. Surely you'd like to hear about that, sir? I really wouldn't. I may not look like it, but I'm pretty handy with computers. Kajiwara's eyes drifted over to Osawa's desktop. Ew! His hand darted to the mouse. In a matter of moments, he cleared the screensaver and booted up a web browser. Yucky! Hey! Osawa barked. Don't touch that! I'm here to support a game. Is that the guy from Squid Game? He's kinda acting like it. He was just unclogging a toilet, so I don't like his wet hand touching mine over here. The monitor showed the page for Ayanet, a fan page devoted to Aya Kamiki. Osawa's imminent rage stroke was beginning to make his vision grow fuzzy. You come to the site regularly, sir? Regularly? Well, I'm not sure I'd, Osawa trailed off, feeling the heat of a blush flare on his cheeks. There's a lot of stuff on the site. Is there a section you primarily spend time on? Well, I mean, for my part, I really only go to the fan forums for folks 40 and over. Aha! With a twinkle of curiosity in his eyes, Kajiwara peered over at the computer screen. Having his privacy invaded to this degree was the ultimate disgrace. Oh, alright. Osawa huffed. You're an amazing detective, Kajiwara. Just incredible. I see you in a new light now. Now would you please get the hell out of my room, or please leave me alone. Yeah, get the hell out of my room now. Will you please get the hell out of my room? He tried to usher Kajiwara back out the door. All right, sir, the detective said. All right, I understand. I'll leave, but before that... Kajiwara slipped his hand into his pocket. I don't need a damn banana. Alright, this guy just kept giving us bananas. It's not that, Mr. Osawa. I have something I think may be important to you. He held a small plastic bag. Inside was a scrap of paper of some sort. What's that? Osawa asked. This is what was clogging the toilet, sir. What? Some hesitation, Osawa took hold of the bag. Huh? That's... The passenger name here is listed as Kenji Osawa. In the plastic bag was a plane ticket, specifically the one for his upcoming flight to the US the following week. He'd left it out on his desk. How did it wound up being flushed down the toilet? This looks like it's pretty important, sir, Kajiwara said. I must say it was pretty careless of you to accidentally flush it. A wry sort of smile came to his face. Although, the detective added, I suppose the question of who flushed it is another matter entirely. An actual mystery. Osawa was at a loss for words. Someone had tried to flush his plane ticket on purpose. He was sure of it. He knocked on the door to Ai's room, but there was no response. It didn't look like she'd gotten back home yet. Osawa let himself in. It's because of COVID, that's what it is. The stinging scent of her perfume pervaded the room, which was decorated all in white. Clothes were strewn all about as if to put her slovenliness on display. She'd been like this ever since they got married, and Osawa had long since stopped caring. It must have been I who tried to flush the ticket. He knew she didn't want him going to America, but still, couldn't she have found a better way to get rid of it? Thanks to her, he'd been stuck hunched over the damn toilet fighting with a plunger. Osawa sat down in the bed amidst the brand name clothing, then he spotted something odd down by his feet. It was a gold cigarette lighter. Just when had I picked up smoking? Osawa picked up the lighter and set it on the shelf next to his bed. Next to the bed. He started out of the room, but stopped as he noticed a scrapbook on the bookshelf. The rest of the shelf was filled with fashion magazines, so the scrapbook definitely drew his eye. Curious, he took it down and opened it. The book was filled with articles and write-ups about the results of Osawa's research and the company's various achievements. Flipping through the pages took him on a trip down memory lane. There was even an old company memo welcoming Tanaka on board as his new vice director. There was a photo of Osawa shaking Tanaka's hand at the party celebrating his new position. It was a little peculiar to think that she had bothered to keep something so trivial. A series of magazine articles was nestled between the pages further into the book. Those hadn't been clipped out for inclusion in the scrapbook itself. Osawa glanced through them. Floundering Okoshi Pharmaceutical arranges marriage of political convenience. It was a self-indulgent piece from some rag called the 4-Star General Gossip. Oh, from right after he and I had gotten married. When the piece had first run, he'd been too furious to read it. Now he gave it a quick looking over. It was pretty much exactly what he expected. He talked about how one of the corporate directors had sacrificed his own daughter in order to keep one of his researchers on board. Sacrifice, allowing someone else to come to harm for one's personal gain. In this case, the term is used figuratively, not literally. Referring, of course, to Makino offering Osawa Ai's hand in marriage. Rumors abound of marital strife between the newlyweds. The article went on to talk about how Ai had been dating another man before she and Osawa had gotten married. The whole thing was a bunch of puerile rubbish. Any marriage involves some kind of calculated self-interest after all. Whatever the reason for the union, nothing changed the fact that Ai was now his wife. With a faint sigh, Osawa put the scrapbook back on the shelf. I'm so invested in the soap opera. Honestly, it's fun seeing all the things, but yeah. There's like a kidnapping subplot and gangs and assassins, and this guy's just having trouble with his wife. I mean, his daughter was kidnapped, but his other daughter is being tracked down, but he's having trouble with his wife and dealing with a weirdo in his house. Feeling disconsolate, he returned to his study and began flipping through his CD rack. His eyes scanned for Aya Kamiki's album For Tomorrow, Forevermore. A lot of her more experimental numbers were on that album. Given how discombobulated he felt right now, this was what he needed to hear. Again, Osawa reflected on how there'd been a time when he didn't care about music at all. He'd simply purchased copies of the most popular CD of the moment as birthday presents for his 2 girls, and that had just happened to be an album by Aya Kamiki. Hitomi was thrilled by the gift, but Maria hadn't seemed terribly fond of it. The next day, she tossed her copy back on her father's desk. Figuring that throwing it away would be a waste, Osawa stuck the CD into his computer and gave it a listen. He was immediately bombarded by an intense beat bolstered by bold, uplifting vocals. Aya Kamiki wrote her own lyrics, which did a fine job of conveying the emotions of a teenage girl. Osawa could hardly believe it. After listening to just one track, he was well and truly hooked. Before the day was out, he had purchased her entire discography. Huh? He muttered. For Tomorrow should have been in the CD rack, but there's no sign of it. Where the heck is it? Why isn't it here? For a moment he wondered if he was going crazy, and then he remembered. It was at the lab. He'd wanted something to listen to on break at work, so he bought the album there. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Not being able to listen to it made him want to hear it all the more. It wasn't like he could just go out and buy another copy right now either. He'd just have to borrow the copy given to Hitomi all these years ago. Unable to contain his need to hear that music, he went to Hitomi's room. There, he quickly rummaged through the CD rack beside his daughter's bed. Part of him felt like he was being a little sneak thief. According to the email Tanaka had shown him, someone was trying to kill Hitomi. Under circumstances, he knew that what he was doing was ridiculous, and yet he still couldn't resist the impulse to find the CD. His efforts were to no avail. This guy's a weirdo. Yeah, there were no Aya Kamiki CDs in the rack at all. I don't know if you were here for it, John, but it was going for before. He has this like weird policy of, quote, no unnecessary conversations, and noting the fact that his record for not talking is 14 days in a row. He would only open up his mouth to eat and what was the other thing? Same. It was eat and something else. But yeah, eat and brush his teeth. That's what it was. Osawa pulled out every CD on the rack, but they were all classical music. He slumped back in disappointment. It had to be somewhere here in her room. Osawa jumped at the sound as Cell and fumbled to get it out of his pocket. Makino's name was displayed in the LCD screen. I'm out front. That was all Makino said before hanging up. Hurriedly, Osawa began tidying up the CD rack. As he worked, he thought about what he was going to say to Makino. To think that someone had violated corporate policy to such unethical ends. It sullied his research. Osawa wasn't about to let anyone get away with it. And yet, as he was about to leave Hitomi's room, a sudden uncertainty gripped him. He hesitated. Did he have any right to condemn Makino for running trials in secret? His hand began to sweat as it gripped the doorknob. No, he didn't. How could he? His hands were dirty in all this too. We need to keep this a secret just between us. It'll be fine, we've already cleared animal testing. The memories hovered. Osawa himself had already administered the antiviral to someone, hadn't he? It was the only way. Muttering to nobody in particular, Osawa trudged toward the front door of his house. To be continued. Oh, okay, so we finally got to the end of his path here. That doesn't help us with the other characters, though.